So I'm well aware that a lot of you guys know of this car, and the car that I'm talking about, you saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. It's BonelessPunk's Scion FRS or GT86, and actually this car was stock body maybe a year and a half ago if I remember correctly, and I actually painted and installed the Rocket Bunny kit that's on there, but now he ordered this brand new Rallybacker kit straight from Japan. Super nice, really cool, and oh yeah, also I know this car gets a lot of comments, and I would say that don't leave that on this video, but I'm fully embracing it. Let me know how you feel about the car. Let me know how you feel about the stance. Let me know how you feel about everything.
And now, you're watching the photo bomb dick pic of YouTube. Welcome to Bodie Vision.
Hey, so what is up and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me on another video. Man, today is such a cool day. Exciting day because I'm starting to daily the Ranchero. I've actually been dailying it for a little while. I plan on making a video real soon, but I just kind of wanted to show you some of the updates that we've been working on. So as you can see, this is real cool. Just some wood paneling. This is made from an old belt. We got the headliner in there, seats in there, carpet's still temporary. Also got the bed in here. And then this little latch, boom, right to the fuel cell. So that's really cool. I'm definitely excited to be driving the Ranchero around a little bit more, and I plan on doing a video real soon on just kind of updating you on everything that's been going on with the Ranchero. But we're not talking about that in this video. What we are going to talk about is this kit. So this is the second day that I've been working on it, and the hardest part for me was all of these holes, was trying to get them to look clean, because let me see if I can find one that wasn't so clean. If you can see right there, it's just kind of right there where I was pointing, it's just kind of rough, and I want to make sure the kit's as good as possible. So I already actually have about I'd say 10 hours, 2 5-hour days working on this kit to this point right now. But the hard part's behind us. I'm about to get into primer, and then after it's primed, I'll fully sand it down, and I'll get into all of that when that time comes. So right now, I want to get everything situated where I have plenty of space in between each item, and then get them ready for primer. So now I have everything laid out and kind of oriented a way that I'm going to be able to get to everything nice and easily, and man, my floor is a mess. I just got rid of this 240 and I haven't even had a time to completely go through the shop, blow it out, get it real clean, but I'm not too worried about it for primer. I put these boxes here to try to eliminate any of the dust that's going to get up in the air, and again, for primer, I'm going to sand everything once we're done, so it's just fine. I'm not too worried about it. And then by the time I do my base coat and clear coat, I'm going to get this entire room looking spotless. That way I don't have any dust, any particles in the air that I have to worry about. That's just how I like to do it. Now, I know a lot of people have mentioned, why don't I wet the floor? And I don't really like wetting the floor because I don't like dragging a wet hose around, kind of slinging it around, getting water all over the place. That's just my preference. I've done that in the past, but that's just not what I like to do, and I appreciate all the suggestions nevertheless. So now, speaking of primer, what I'm using is a high build primer, and why I like to use a high build primer is because I want it to get in all the little scratches, all the imperfections. I've found that fiberglass kits always come with imperfections, and that's just part of the process. They pop it out of a mold, and that's just what happens. So you gotta work it, you gotta expect it. There's gonna be some scratches in there, and this high build primer or filler primer is gonna take care of some of those scratches. So the last thing that I gotta do is I'm gonna take my tack cloth, throw this at all the pieces, and then we'll get priming. following day now, and I kind of wanted to point out something about this kit and something that happens a lot when I'm doing paint stuff for clients, and I always gotta kind of expect it when I do my pricing. I don't want to get into the exact numbers, but I always have to expect that it's not gonna be just what I think. You know, he told me it's a brand new kit, and that's fine. I'm not mad at him by any means, but look at how this looks. There's just all kinds of holes in it right there, and I can't just leave it like that. I mean, of course, I was told to paint the kit. I could just have the mentality of, let me just slang some paint on it, give it back to him, say it's all good, come pick it up, everything's all said and done. But the fact of the matter is, this kit is my work. If anybody sees the car and they see the kit and the kit looks horrible and it has all kind of pinholes and all kinds of imperfections on it, and if they ask who painted the kit, it's my name that comes up. So now I gotta spend the day and I gotta work on all those little imperfections, all of those little, I think they're called like voids in the fiberglass, and they're actually air bubbles, and then the surface breaks, and then the primer's not gonna get in there. The primer actually does get into some little scratches, but it's not gonna full-blown get into holes. So now I gotta use a little bit of filler, skim that over, glaze it, and I gotta get that figured out before I can lay down my base coat. Boom, and now it's a couple hours later. What I went ahead and I did is I used a lightweight body filler to kind of spread that into those holes. The two pieces that had holes, they're the pieces sitting right there. I prepped those first and then I spread them, and then as they were drying I went ahead and I sanded the rest of all of my primed pieces. What I finish off with is a 600 grit. That way it's really smooth. The base coat is going to lay on there really nicely. Then the clear coat on top of that is going to look that much better. And something that I always want to think about is the better you do the primer, the less time you're going to have to spend sanding them down, because if the primer's nice and smooth already, you can go straight to a 600 grit, but if it's real rough, real nasty, you might have to start with a 220 or 320, or just whatever you do. I would recommend just finishing off with a 600 grit sandpaper. That's just what works for me. Find out what works for you. So these pieces over here, there's a whole bunch of those spots right in here. So there's just some filler right there. And then this one, all these spots right there, and then right there, and right there are filled in. And these holes are so small, I think it's just fine to fill it in with a little bit of filler. It's not gonna crack or anything. I mean, we're talking, there's barely anything on there at all. So I think it's just gonna be fine. I'm gonna go ahead and get these primed and then sand them down so that way they can match the rest of the panels, and then we'll get into that base coat and clear coat and be wrapping this thing up. I have everything situated nice and in a way that it's gonna make it easy for me, and I'm gonna end up doing 2 sessions because those pieces that needed a little extra filler that I was working on earlier today, those aren't ready to go because the primer that's on them is still wet, so I can't sand those down. And then that way I'm gonna do 2 sessions, and I kind of can spread stuff out a little bit. That way I don't have to have everything right on top of each other. And also with the fenders, I prefer to kind of paint at body level, so that way I'm just right here, right here, right here, rather than getting way low on the floor and stirring up a bunch of dust. Even though I thoroughly cleaned out the place, I like to keep them off the floor. Man, dude, it looks good. Let me grab a flashlight so I can show you the flake in this paint. It is solid, dude. Now that flake, it looks a little bluish, or the pearl looks a little bluish because this is an LED flashlight and the flashlight itself is blue. But man, I could not be more happy with how it came out. 2 coats of base, 3 coats of clear, and we are good to go. Dude, look how clear and crisp. Woohoo! It's like I'm not even holding the camera. Dude, let's just take a second and appreciate how good this looks, dude. It is solid. So the gun that I use is the defects DV1, and I'm using a true finish clear, and I believe that's a line of Transtar. Yeah, that's a line of Transtar, so it's just 2K clear urethane, nothing too crazy special. And then the base coat that I'm using is Chroma base. I've used Nason in the past, and I didn't like the way that came out last time, and neither did the owner. It seems like the Chroma base mix was a lot better, and Chroma base is just a lot higher of a quality of a base coat. So, man, I think tomorrow I'm gonna do those remaining pieces, but you get the idea. And then he's gonna come pick them up, and I'll definitely do an update video later on if the owner wants me to, so that way you guys can see them on the car. I don't know how soon he plans on mounting them, but it'll be eventually. Either way, my part is done, my part is complete. You've seen the entire process from start to finish. And if you had any questions, please leave that in the comment section below. I'm gonna cut the video off here, get busy tomorrow, and then I'll work on filming something else for you. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Like this video, comment, subscribe, do all the stuff. You know what it is. YouTube, I'm out.